Unbelievable rescue, how 5 brave hearts saved a rhino from an unexpected anaconda attack. The sun beamed down on the small Texas town as Alex, a single mother in her late 30s, hurried along the dusty road with her spirited 8-year-old son, Jake. They were on their way to a wildlife rescue training event at the park, the air buzzing with excitement and possibilities. Alex felt the weight of life bearing down on her like a heavy cloak. A job at the local diner barely provided enough for them to scrape by, and society's expectations loomed large. But today felt different. Today, she could connect her son with the beauty of nature. This was their moment. When they arrived, a kaleidoscope of happy faces greeted them, families of all shapes and sizes, tapping into a shared passion for conservation. Laughter rang out, kids chasing each other, and the crowd was alive with an electric enthusiasm. Alex looked at Jake, his eyes shining bright as he tugged at her sleeve, eager to explore everything the event had to offer. She smiled, a warmth igniting in her chest. This was precisely the family experience she was striving to instill in him, values of love, kindness, and respect for the world around them. Before they could get settled, the crowd was informed that a rare rhino would be present as part of a conservation initiative. Gasps and cheers echoed, and Alex could feel her doddering pulse quicken. This was truly special. But just as the event kicked off with laughter and educational talks, a sudden commotion interrupted the joyous atmosphere. An enormous anaconda had slithered from the murky swamp nearby and had its eyes trained on the rhino. Panic rippled through the crowd. Alex's heart raced. She felt an instinctual urge to do something. "We can't just stand here," she shouted, rallying her friends, Tom, a rugged hunter with a wealth of respect for the earth, Maria, who could fix anything with her crafty hands, Lee, who towered over most with his gentle demeanor, and Tanya, always a burst of enthusiasm in her teaching. They exchanged determined glances before agreeing to take matters into their own hands. Their first attempt unraveled with chaotic frenzy. The commotion around them blurred into a cacophony of shouting and fear. As the anaconda hissed menacingly, they stumbled, their efforts faltering spectacularly, met with harsh whispers from onlookers questioning their courage. Alex felt each judgment like a knife digging deep, pushing the insecurities she had battled for years to the forefront. Did they truly belong together here, battling this overwhelming tide? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. With doubt lingering in the air, a second attempt to save the rhino was underway. Each friend stepped forward, channeling courage amidst fear, relying on one another. As they faced the anaconda with a fierce resolve, the sheer weight of their community's scrutiny settled heavy on their shoulders. Alex locked eyes with Jake, who gripped her hand tightly, a determined spark mirroring her own. Could they save the rhino from the jaws of danger while fighting their own inner demons? The shadows of the approaching storm mirrored the tension, leaving doubt in the air like the humidity. As they prepared to confront the anaconda head-on, Alex's heart surged with newfound purpose. Today could be the defining moment for her son, a day to learn about resilience and bravery in the face of fear. Just as their fears threatened to overshadow them, they stood ready to defy the odds, hoping for redemption in the shadows of uncertainty. The air buzzed with tension as Alex and her friends stepped forward, adrenaline coursing through their veins. The anaconda's large body coiled close to the ground, its gaze locked on the rhino. Alex swallowed hard, glancing at Jake, who was wide-eyed yet unshakable. She could see the worry flickering in his eyes, but there was also a spark of bravery, a reflection of her own determined spirit. "Okay," Tom said, breaking their moment of silence, his voice steady despite the chaos. "We need a plan." "Distract the snake," Maria suggested, her mind racing. "If we can get it away from the rhino, maybe it'll leave." Lee nodded, the look on his face a mix of fear and resolve. "I can create noise, make it look elsewhere. But I'll need a few moments. I won't be able to do that alone." "Let us do it together," Tanya echoed, placing a comforting hand on Lee's arm. "We can't rely on just one of us." As they strategized, the crowd's murmurs intensified, uncertainty spreading like wildfire. Alex felt a surge of self-doubt rise again, but she squashed it down. This was not just about her now, it was about the Rhino and her son. "Let us do it," she said, her voice rising above the din. "We show them what we're made of." With a collective breath, they sprang into action. Lee let out a loud roar, attempting to mimic a creature of the wild, while Maria banged two metal buckets together, creating a clatter that pierced through the fear. Every sound was a lifeline, every moment a chance to shift the Anaconda's focus. Jake stood at his mother's side, eyes fixed on the unfolding drama. The rhythm of battle filled the air, and Alex could feel the pulse of possibility. The Anaconda lifted its head, curiosity piqued, and for a fleeting moment, it turned away from the Rhino. "Now!" Tom shouted. They dashed forward, racing to position themselves between the Rhino and the snake. Alex felt a rush of exhilaration push through her veins. This was her moment to be brave, not just for herself, but for Jake and the world around them. It wasn't just about wildlife rescue, it was about teaching a boy how to confront life's challenges with courage. But as they moved, the Anaconda snapped back, its massive body tightening once again, now fixated on this new confrontation. Alex and her friends were mere humans standing against nature's might. Facing it head-on felt both foolish and fearless at the same time. The cheers from the crowd mixed with moments of stunned silence. Was this going to end in triumph, or would it spiral into chaos? As they pressed closer, Alex felt her heart pounding. The Rhino stared back at them, trust in its eyes, a creature that needed saving. Alex could sense the weight of everything on the line. "We won't let you down," she whispered, not just to the Rhino, but to Jake, to herself, and to her friends. In the pit of her stomach, hope and dread intertwined. She could feel a storm brewing in the distance, but the real storm was here in their hearts, drumming loud against their ribs, urging them forward. Just as she reached out for Jake, urging him to stay close, the Anaconda lunged in a surprise move, snapping its powerful jaws toward them. The moment of truth arrived. Would they hold their ground and save the Rhino, or would their valiant effort fall short? The Anaconda's powerful jaws whirred through the air, and in that split second, everything slowed down. Alex's heart felt like thunder against her chest. She pushed Jake behind her, instinct taking over. Time stretched as the snake lunged forward, its thick body unfurling in a terrifying display of strength. "Look out!" Lee yelled, jerking back just in time to avoid a thrashing tail that whipped past him. The crowd gasped as the creature snapped dangerously close to their joined efforts. "Keep going!" Tom shouted, his voice cutting through the chaos. "Don't stop!" He waved a makeshift flag, a bright piece of cloth they had found. It flapped wildly in the air, a beacon of hope and distraction. Alex felt a surge of clarity. "We focus on the noise. More sound. More distractions." She grabbed a nearby stick and banged it against a metal barrel, sending a loud clang echoing through the field. Maria followed suit, her buckets reverberating in a frantic rhythm that mimicked a drum roll of courage and intent. In the midst of the chaos, the Anaconda hesitated. It flicked its tongue, tasting the air, caught between the cacophony created by the kids and the Rhino standing still, threatened but resolute. Alex locked eyes with the Rhino, her gaze steady. "Come on, buddy," she whispered, willing it to trust them. Jake's small hand found hers, squeezing in a mix of fear and determination. "Are we really doing this, Mom?" he asked, his voice trembling. "More than ever, Jake. We can't back down now." She could sense their combined energy emanating through the air. Every kid in that moment felt like heroes, standing tall against the unwieldy force of nature that seemed impossible to defeat. With a sudden move, the Anaconda turned its focus back on the Rhino. It began to tighten those ominous coils, an action that sent a chill through Alex's bones. "Now!" she cried out, urging everyone closer together. At that moment, they needed to amplify their collective spirit and push back against fear itself. Tom hurled another bucket toward the snake, the clatter gaining attention. "Here! Over here!" he hollered, waving his arms. Even in the face of danger, Alex noticed how their camaraderie transformed fear into strength. Together, they created noise that filled the void of uncertainty, clashing with the weight of their impending cyclone of adrenaline. But the ground trembled beneath them, and just when it seemed the anaconda might retreat, it coiled itself tighter, preparing to strike. "Don't give up!" Alex yelled, her voice hoarse but powerful. Underneath the rush of chaos, resolute hope threaded its way through her heart. They had come too far to falter. This wasn't just a fight for the rhino, this was a moment of choice, a chance to redefine what bravery meant. They pressed on, determination pushing them forward. Lee stepped ahead, creating an even larger racket, while Tanya tossed leaves into the air, attempting to catch the snake's gaze as if they could outsmart the instinct of a creature designed for survival. Suddenly, with an unexpected twist of fate, the outpouring of sound and movement broke the tension. The anaconda hesitated, body twisting awkwardly, clearly bewildered. The moment stretched, a heartbeat hovered in the crowd, and then, just like that, the colossal creature seemed to lose its focus. Would their desperate measures work? Would the anaconda retreat, realizing that the fight wasn't worth it against the united strength of courage? Alex felt hope pulsing within her, but doubt flickered right alongside it. They might be on the verge of a change, or on the brink of a disaster. She could sense the crowd's breath collectively held, eyes wide, hearts racing. So it came down to this: would they succeed against the odds, or was the danger just beginning to unravel? Alex could barely process what came next, the snap of the anaconda's tail against the ground, sending a shudder through her very being. Would the next moment bring victory or despair? And in the thick of it, the question remained: could they truly save the rhino, or would they lose it all in this moment of reckless bravery? The anaconda, momentarily disoriented, slithered uncertainly, its massive body writhing as it processed the chaotic din around it. Alex's heart raced as she held her breath. Would it flee? Or would it lash out? "Keep banging," she urged, her voice slicing through the air, filled with raw determination. The others jumped back into action, their makeshift arsenal, buckets, sticks, and voices as loud as they could muster. Jake's grip tightened on her hand. "Mom, it looks confused," he exclaimed, eyes wide with a mix of fear and hope. "Let us keep it that way," Alex replied, forcing a smile to ease his tension. She tried to lead them into a rhythm, creating a symphony of sound. The ground pulsed beneath them, as if the earth itself shared in their fight. Tanya waved her arms in wild gestures, while Tom continued to shout, "Come on! We're not backing down!" Laughter bubbled through the cries, a strange juxtaposition to the fear pressing down on them like thick fog. They were together. They were strong. But then, the anaconda made its decision. With a sudden burst of speed, it lunged forward, its coils snapping and twisting. The crowd gasped as one, an audible wave of disbelief washing over them. The moment felt unreal. "Everyone, back!" Lee shouted, his voice hoarse. The kids instinctively shifted, forming a tighter line, a human wall against the monstrous creature. Alex felt the electricity of shock ripple through them. Could they really hold their ground? "Stay strong." Her voice rang out again, steadying even her own wavering courage. And then, as if fueled by their united spirit, the rhino suddenly charging at the anaconda. The beast paused, flicking its tongue, and for a second, the world went silent. Would the rhino go for the attack or stand in its way? It was a gamble, the stakes felt enormous. Please, Alex whispered, eyes locked on the rhino. "Trust us." It was then when the ground shook with a thundering sound, and a shrill cry emerged from the rhino. The anaconda turned its head, clearly unsettled by the unexpected confrontation. "Now!" Alex shouted, her own voice erupting into a fierce roar. "Now's our chance." Tom threw a small log, using all his strength. It hit the anaconda, bouncing off harmlessly but making a loud thud. The snake's attention snapped back to the crowd, confusion still etched into its gaze. The kids continued to create a riot, pushing their voices, their hearts into a single pulse. Each of them became part of a living crescendo, drowning out fear and summoning courage. But just when it seemed like victory was within reach, the anaconda's body tensed. It unfurled, its gaze breaking between the rhino and the children, drawn to either threat with a predatory instinct. Stay together. Alex rallied, urging them to link arms. The energy surrounding them crackled an electric bond of resolve. The scene narrowed into an intense dance of survival, the anaconda on one side, fierce and menacing, and the rhino, standing steadfast. Would they find a way to succeed? Would this battle of wills lead to triumph or calamity? One thing was certain, their bravery would leave a mark, how they fought not just for the rhino but for each other. In that moment, as the anaconda made its choice, the question lingered, could they emerge as heroes from this moment? But the looming shadows of uncertainty only thickened, and neither the crowd nor the children could shake the feeling that this struggle had only begun. The anaconda's forked tongue flicked in and out, sensing the air thick with fear and determination. Alex's heart pounded in her chest as the reality of the moment sank in. The creature before them wasn't just a snake, it was a symbol of the wild, a primal force that mirrored the chaos of their own fear and bravery. Link arms, she repeated, her voice a beacon against the turmoil. The children obeyed, forming a tighter wall, each small hand grasping the next. Their unity was tangible, like a shield forged with the raw power of friendship. The anaconda, searching for an opening, measured the crowd, but it couldn't find the weakness it craved. Alex held her breath as it coiled and uncoiled, its massive body a fluid wave of muscle and weight. Come on. We won't let you through. Tanya shouted, her voice breaking through the tension, both fierce and defiant. The children cheered in response, their voices forming a chorus stronger than any weapon. But desperation clawed at Alex's mind. What if it decides to attack us instead of the rhino? A shiver crept down her spine. She could feel the electric tension in the air, unpredictability swirling like storm clouds above. The rhino, seemingly unfazed by the chaos, charged forward yet again, bellowing a sound that echoed off the trees. It was a primal cry, a call to arms that awakened something deep within each of them. There was no backing down. Let it have our strength. Alex shouted. We are more than fear. Her declaration sent a ripple of energy through the group, igniting their spirits. Suddenly, the anaconda lunged. Alex's breath caught in her throat. It struck with lightning speed, but not at them. It veered toward the rhino. Defend yourselves, she screamed, pushing Jake behind her. Instinctively, that protective urge amplified her courage. The crowd surged, their collective will pulling into a force aimed solely at the giant serpent. Jake's grip tightened on her hand, and Alex noticed the way he trembled. We can't lose, Mom. We can't let it take the rhino. Not now, she whispered, her eyes fixed on the beast. We've come too far. The hope in her heart swelled, a flickering flame fighting against an encroaching darkness. Tom grabbed a larger stick, holding it like a lance. If it gets closer, I'll hit it, he declared, his voice steadier than Alex felt inside. They were digging in, ready to defend their ground, yet hope mingled with uncertainty in a dance of chaos. The rhino kicked up dirt, stamping its feet as if signaling the moment of unison. The air buzzed with the anticipation of decision, the consequence weighing heavily. Just then, the anaconda locked eyes with Alex, a moment that felt like the world hung still. In that shared gaze, Alex felt the darkness of the creature's intent but also the strength of her resolve. They were battling not just a snake but the fear itself. Together, she called out to the crowd. They shouted in acknowledgement, merging their voices into a growing wave of defiance. But just as their collective will appeared to be enough, the massive serpent twisted. Its thick body arched in an unexpected maneuver, making toward the edge of the crowd. Wait! It's changing direction! Shouted Lee, pointing. In that split second, Alex's heart raced with both dread and an unshakable determination. The stakes just heightened. Would they have the courage to face the unexpected? Could they still save not just the rhino but also themselves from the grip of uncertainty? As the tension escalated, the anaconda slithered toward an unforeseen path, and a new fear prickled at the back of Alex's mind. What was this move signaling? The struggle wasn't over, but what lay ahead was perhaps the most dangerous choice they'd have to make yet. The anaconda shifted, its massive frame gliding away from the frightful crowd and toward a shadowy part of the jungle. Alex's heart raced, both with relief and renewed anxiety. What was it after? She exchanged worried glances with the kids, each of their faces reflecting uncertainty. Stay alert, she called out, the command sharp and clear. The kids tightened their grip on each other, their bodies ready but their eyes scanning the underbrush for the snake's next move. Do you think it's gone? Jake whispered, his voice trembling just a bit. Hurry, Tanya said, looking between Jake and Alex, her eyes wide with concern. We need to figure out where it's going. Alex took a deep breath, fighting to control the surge of fear rising in her throat. We stick together, she reminded them. No matter what. As they crept forward, a rustle nearby snapped their attention. The anaconda made its move again, slipping through the dense foliage, muscles rippling under scales that shimmered under the dappled sunlight. It wasn't just moving aimlessly, it was pursuing something. What if it's going after another animal? Tom speculated, his voice barely above a whisper. We have to follow it. Or we could get caught in its path, Lee warned. They were undeniably torn. Each second stretched painfully, time feeling suspended between their instincts to chase and the instinct to flee. An echoing roar from the rhino broke the silence. It reverberated through the trees, a sound born of courage and desperation. It was a reminder of what they were fighting for. It can't do this alone, Alex said fiercely. We need to protect it. If that's what the snake is after, we can't let it win. Her voice steadied, a declaration igniting a fire in the group. Let us split up, Tanya proposed. We can make noise and draw the snake away from the rhino. No, Alex nearly shouted, eyes wide. That might not work. We have no idea where it'll go. But the unsettling thought beckoned a split in their unity could create cracks in their defense. Tom stepped in, sensing the tension. What if we flank it? A distraction on either side could confuse it enough for us to pull the rhino to safety. Alex paused, their young faces filled with determination. She felt the weight of the decision pressing heavily. Okay, let us do it. The plan was rushed, but it ignited their resolve. Lee and Tanya stepped to the left while Tom and Jake went right, every ounce of their bravery fueling their movements. Alex stayed behind, ready to lead the rhino if they succeeded. With loud whoops and shouts, the kids charged toward the underbrush where the snake had gone, hoping to make enough noise to pull its focus. The sound of snapping branches echoed as they moved, and in unison, they pushed forward. Alex felt adrenaline coursing through her veins. Every shout echoed a promise of loyalty, of defiance against the looming threat. But as the rustling intensified, a sickening silence fell over the jungle. The anaconda was out there, lurking, plotting its next strike. Would their call for courage be enough? Would they save the rhino? Just then, a tremor ran through the earth. Something big charged through the bushes not far from her. Alex! Came a frantic voice. What was happening now? She braced herself. They were standing on the edge of chaos, everything they had fought for was about to be put to the test. Would they withstand the storm? The ground shook again, more violently this time. Alex's heart raced as shadows danced between the trees. Fear gripped her throat. Keep making noise, she yelled, her voice echoing through the leafy expanse. We need to draw the snake out. The kids were still scattering, their shouts bouncing through the dense vegetation. She caught a glimpse of Lee and Tanya on the left, waving their arms wildly, while Tom and Jake pushed deeper into the underbrush. Suddenly, the rustles intensified, branches breaking, leaves crunching under immense weight. Alex felt a chill run down her spine. This wasn't just about the snake, it was a primal fight for survival. Alex! Jake's voice rang out, panic lacing his words. It's coming this way. Stay put, she shouted back, her mind racing with possibilities. She glanced toward where they'd last seen the rhino, a hulking form still hidden in the thick foliage. But what if it was too late? The anaconda struck, a looming, serpentine shape bursting from the underbrush, glistening like a phantom. It moved with an unsettling grace, muscles coiling, eyes laser-focused on something not just prey, but a disturbance it would need to eliminate. "Over here!" Tanya yelled, her voice sharp with determination. She and Lee began banging sticks together, trying desperately to capture the snake's attention. The sound was a piercing counterpoint to the quiet, and it worked, snapping the anaconda's gaze towards them. "It's working!" Tom shouted. "But for how long?" "Just get the rhino out," Alex urged, her voice breaking slightly. She needed to keep them focused. "Don't let it split us up." The anaconda twisted, drawn partially towards the noise, but its body still loomed ominously, blocking their path. Alex watched as terror contorted Jake's face. He was too close. "Jake! Move back!" she cried, just as the snake surged forward, darting toward him like lightning. He turned, eyes wide with fear, and stumbled back, barely avoiding the massive strike. "Alex!" he yelled as he regained his footing, sprinting toward her. "Keep running!" Alex commanded. "We'll get through this." In that moment, something shifted. The jungle felt alive around them, each creature aware of the drama unfolding. Through the cacophony of shouting voices and snapping branches, another sound rose, a low, resonant hum. It was the rhino, rooting deeper into the undergrowth, kicking up soil and leaves. "This way!" Alex shouted, hoping the unexpected noise would create chaos for the snake. She could almost feel the energy of the jungle vibrating around her, urging them onward. With renewed urgency, Alex darted towards the sound of the rhino. The kids followed, a tight knot of fear and determination. Suddenly, the air filled with dread. The anaconda was no longer distracted, it was shifting again, redirecting its attention fully onto them. "Get back!" Tom shouted as the snake lunged toward them, its fearsome jaws snapping inches from Tanya's feet. Time slowed as they scrambled, adrenaline surging through their veins. "Alex! What do we do?" Jake's voice was frantic, desperation making the air thick. "We have to scare it off," she yelled, clutching a broken branch that lay at her feet. "On three, everyone shout and wave." They held their ground, fear morphing into strength. 1, 2, 3. They roared together, a chorus of young hearts clashing against the wild. Would the force of their unified shout be enough to turn the tide? As the anaconda hesitated, for just a moment, a new sound emerged from the depths of the jungle, a low, thunderous rumble, startling them all. What was happening now? Was there another beast approaching? The edge of chaos held them tightly, leaving the question hanging in the air: would they find a way to survive, or was this the moment everything changed forever? The rumble grew louder, resonating through the ground beneath their feet. It felt like the entire jungle was holding its breath, as if nature itself was about to unleash a revelation. Alex's gaze shot around, darting nervously between her friends and the menacing snake now poised dangerously close. They were seconds away from a pivotal moment. Would they be swallowed by fear or rise to the occasion? "Stay together," she urged, her heart pounding like a drum in her chest. There had to be a way. The rumble continued, and she dared to hope there was more to this sound than doom. "Alex!" Tanya shouted, pointing deeper into the thicket. "What's that?" Through the dense trees, a shadowy figure emerged, crashing through the foliage like a stampede. It was the rhino. The hulking beast plowed through the underbrush, drawn by the commotion, defying the very essence of danger. "Head towards it!" Alex yelled, suddenly finding a strength she didn't know she had. She lifted the broken branch, feeling its weight like an extension of her will. The anaconda, sensing the return of formidable opposition, turned its head toward the charging rhino, its eyes narrowing with predatory instinct. This was Alex's chance. "Now," she shouted, bursting forward, brandishing the branch like a spear. "Everyone, run to the rhino! It's our best shot." The kids hesitated only a heartbeat. They could see the strength of the rhino, the raw power in its bulky frame. Just maybe, this could shift the tide. Fueled by a wave of strength and urgency, they rallied and surged forward, desperately sprinting towards the majestic creature. The confrontation loomed as the rhino and the anaconda faced off. Tension dripped from the air. The rhino snorted, leaving no doubt who was the true king of the jungle. The massive beast charged, its horn glistening, as Alex and the others skidded to a halt near its side. This was their moment to unite. "Come on, let us distract it," Tom shouted, throwing twigs and stones towards the snake. Despite their fear, Cindy picked up a handful of pebbles and joined him, her small stature belied by fierce determination. As they hurled everything they could, confusion flickered in the anaconda's eyes. It was torn between defending its territory and pursuing its prey, and for a split second, it forgot about the children. Time stretched painfully. Just as the adrenaline reached a fever pitch, that rumble transformed. It escalated into a thunderous roar. The rhino charged forward, leading the charge against the snake. The ground quaked again beneath them, a powerful symphony of raw strength against primal instinct. "Now! Push it back!" Alex shouted. With her friends gathered close, they screamed and waved their arms, each of them mirroring the rhino's powerful stance. It was a standoff of epic proportions, nature against nature, wills clashing amidst chaos. With that, the anaconda recoiled, rattled by the unexpected force. It seemed uncertain now, backing off just enough for a chance at escape. "Did it work?" Jake asked, breathless, a mixture of hope and disbelief on his face. But even as they celebrated in their small victory, the jungle whispered of further danger. The sound of another rumble rippled softly through the trees. Something else was coming, and the kids could sense the shift. "Get ready!" Alex shouted, bracing herself, adrenaline coursing through her veins again. This struggle was not over. They might have pushed back one fearsome beast, but there was still the unknown lurking in shadows. What came next would determine the fate of not just them, but perhaps the very heart of the jungle itself. Would they be brave enough to face whatever emerged? Would a newfound bravery bring victory or more chaos? The moment seemed more than a test, it felt like an awakening. The ground trembled again, and an ominous growl erupted from the depths of the jungle. Fear mingled with adrenaline, pushing the kids to their limits as they prepared for whatever was lurking beyond the trees. Alex's heart raced, her breath quickening. "We can't give up now," she shouted, trying to rally their spirits despite the creeping doubt that clawed at her insides. Suddenly, a pair of piercing eyes stared out from the underbrush, glistening in the fading light. It wasn't just one creature emerging but a smaller, more agile form, a jaguar. The cat's muscles rippled under its spotted coat, and it prowled with a grace that belied its deadly intentions. It seemed drawn by the commotion, its gaze locked on the vulnerable rhino. "Another one?" Tanya gasped, her voice aquiver. The group exchanged worried glances, the weight of the situation pressing down on them like the heavy jungle air. "Stay focused," Alex commanded, her voice cutting through panic. "The rhino needs us. We can't let it face this alone." With each passing moment, the jaguar measured their collective fear, its predatory instincts honed in on the younger, smaller creatures. Alex felt a fierce protectiveness surge within, a flame that pushed back the encroaching shadows of doubt. "Tom, can you distract it?" she called out, her eyes locking on her friend. He met her gaze, the urgency in her tone igniting a spark of determination in him. "Got it." Tom nodded, stepping forward to grab a nearby fallen branch. He shouted and waved the stick, drawing the jaguar's attention away from the rhino's huge frame. The jaguar hesitated, momentarily interested, before launching itself at Tom. "Run!" Alex screamed, her heart clenching as she watched Tom dart into the foliage. The jaguar, caught in the chase, followed him with lightning speed, while the rhino remained ramped up beside the fearful kids. "Cindy, Jake, let us flank the rhino." "Show it we're still here," Alex urged. They moved as one, steady and determined, circling the rhino. The massive creature turned its massive head, sensing their resolve. "Roar!" Jake called out, imitating the sounds of the jungle. The rhino snorted once more, its annoyance at the small feline evident. With an almost comical nod, it seemed to acknowledge Jake's call and straightened, more authoritative than before. But the chaos wasn't over. A third rumble echoed, louder now, and it wasn't just the jaguar or anaconda. From the shadows, more creatures began to reveal themselves, a pack of wild dogs. Their barks filled the air, blending with the roars of the rhino, igniting fear in the hearts of the children. "Stay by me," Alex urged, clenching her fists. "We can't let them separate us." As the wild dogs approached, Alex realized they were in the midst of a primal contest of nature. But in the heart of that chaos, she found clarity. If they could stand together, if they could channel their bravery, they could protect the rhino and themselves. "Think of what we've done so far. We can't let it end here," she shouted. Each word struck like a lightning bolt, electrifying their spirits and fueling the courage within. The kids formed a tight circle around the rhino, each standing ready to face whatever came next. They could feel its strength radiate close, a massive presence that seemed to recognize their fight. But just when hope began to flicker, a sudden crash pierced the air. The ground beneath them shook dramatically. What new enemy lurked beyond the trees? Would they have the strength to continue? As the darkness deepened and the unknown loomed, what awaited them now would challenge every ounce of bravery they had discovered. The jungle was thick with mystery and lurking danger. Would they stand firm against it all? Their fight was far from over, it was just beginning, and somehow, they would have to face the heart of the jungle itself. With hearts pounding, Alex and her brave little brigade stood as one, forming an unyielding circle around the rhino. The ground trembled anew, each animal noise a symphony of daunting reality. But Alex felt a fire ignite within her, a mix of maternal instinct and pure courage that propelled her forward like a warrior. "All right, everyone," she shouted, her voice cutting through the wild atmosphere. "We've fought through chaos before, and we'll do it again. This isn't just about the rhino, it's about us, too. Together." The kids looked up at her, finding strength in her words. She could see their fear softened by the light of determination shining in their eyes. Jake squeezed her hand, the small gesture anchoring her even more. They were more than just a collection of scared children. They were a team. In that moment, the jaguar reappeared, stalking toward them with eerie grace. It paused, nostrils flaring, weighing its choices like a hunter considering its prey. The dogs, on the opposite side, were circling, barking viciously, clearly sensing the tension mounting. "Tom! Tanya! Make some noise!" Alex yelled. Without hesitation, Tanya grabbed a handful of sticks, banging them together as Tom yelled and waved frantically. The collective uproar shifted the balance, drawing the predator's attention just long enough. "Now's our chance!" Alex shouted, echoing the urgency rippling through the group. The rhino shifted, sensing the growing energy, as if understanding the unity surrounding it. It let out a mighty roar, a declaration that shook through the jungle, leaving no doubt about its stance. Alex could feel the ground vibrating beneath her feet in response to the rhino's power. This was their wildest rally cry. "Get ready!" She could hardly hear her own thoughts over the pounding in her chest. "We charge together!" Without knowing exactly what she was doing, she took a step forward, heart racing, raising her makeshift weapon high. A branch transformed into a symbol of their defiance. The kids followed her lead, a cluster of restless courage as they began to advance toward the jaguar, shouting and banging their objects, growing louder with each passing heartbeat. The jaguar hesitated, taken aback, and in that pivotal moment, the pack of wild dogs lunged in from the side, throwing the entire scene into chaos. "Fight, not flight," Alex commanded, her voice ringing clear against the roar of beating hearts. "Let us push back," Tom cried, running to the edge of the circle. Together, Tom and Tanya charged the jaguar, while Alex motioned for Jake and the other kids to keep close to the rhino. The wild dogs, emboldened by the mayhem, began to scatter in different directions, now more focused on each other than the group of kids. Alex felt a jolt of hope surge through her. They could break this cycle of fear. "Focus on the rhino. Let it lead," Alex shouted, rallying the kids around her. The rhino was their bulwark, a fortress of strength standing against nature's chaos. As she moved closer alongside Jake, they stood proudly, shoulder to shoulder with the rhino. The jaguar and remaining wild dogs hesitated, confusion crackling like electricity in the air. In a sudden, unexpected display, the rhino charged forward, a fearsome sight. It let out another deep bellow, a raw sound of power that rumbled through the underbrush, scattering the jaguar back a step. The wild dogs, sensing the shift, retreated into the shadows, leaving the area to the majestic beast that seemed to recognize the fierce bond among its defenders. "We did it! We did it!" Jake shouted, almost in disbelief, his eyes shining with joy and pride. "All right, let us keep our guard up," Alex breathed, her own heart dancing with relief. The atmosphere shifted, a new calm washing over the group. They remained vigilant, but the fear that had once gripped them began to slip away, replaced by a shared sense of triumph. As they looked around, taking in the weight of what they had just accomplished, Alex felt the burden of self-doubt lift from her shoulders. She had led them through danger not just for the rhino, but for their own spirit. Through the shadows, she found herself locking eyes with Jake. He beamed at her, eyes lit with admiration. "You were amazing, Mom." He cheered. "No, we were amazing, Jake. All of us. We stood together." With the jungle now echoing their defiant roars of unity, Alex knew that through heart-pounding fear and chaos, they discovered something epic: courage, friendship, and family transcending even the wildest of challenges. As they gathered closer to the rhino, the sun cast golden rays through the trees, painting a picture of hope and renewal. Nature's beauty wrapped itself around them like a warm embrace, confirming that they had emerged not just as survivors, but as champions. This was their moment, a moment to celebrate not only the successful rescue but to crystallize the bond forged amidst adversity. "Let us promise to protect these animals and our world," Alex declared, her voice steady and clear. "Let us be their advocates. Together." Nods surrounded her, a chorus of affirmation mingling with the fading sounds of the jungle. They had come to save a rhino, but what they had gained was so much more. The heart of the jungle had not only tested their bravery, it had revealed their true selves, intertwining their lives and spirits forever. "Now, let us get marching," she said, a warmth blossoming within her. "Who is ready to take on the world?" With spirited cheers and laughter, they made their way back to the park, knowing they would never see the wild the same way again. Their adventure had etched itself into their hearts, an unforgettable memory that would shape their spirits to come. Now that you've witnessed this incredible ending, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support for thrilling transformations like these. Comment your reactions and feelings about this epic conclusion. You were part of this journey, and your voice matters, and quick. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to remember that true courage lies in unity. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand how important it is to support our channel. Together we can make a difference.